There's a silent epidemic spreading through society. It's not a disease you can see. It's not something doctors diagnose or that makes headlines. Yet it destroys more dreams, crushes more potential, and steals more wealth than almost any other force in modern life. And here's what makes it truly dangerous. Most people suffering from it have no idea they're infected. This epidemic is indecision. The chronic inability to choose a direction and commit to it fully. The constant wavering between possibilities. The perpetual state of maybe, of someday, of I'm not sure yet. And it's keeping you poor. Not just financially poor, though that's certainly part of it. Poor in purpose, poor in confidence, poor in results, poor in the deep satisfaction that comes from knowing exactly where you're going and moving toward it with absolute certainty. Right now, as you're listening to these words, there are two types of people in this world. Those who have decided what they want and are moving toward it with clarity and commitment. And those who are drifting, hoping, wishing, waiting for the right moment, the right opportunity, the right circumstances. The first group is small, extraordinarily small, maybe 5% of the population, and they hold the vast majority of wealth, success, and fulfillment. The second group is everyone else. And they wonder why life feels so hard, why success seems so elusive, why they're always busy but never satisfied. The difference between these two groups is an intelligence. It's not background. It's not even opportunity. The difference is decision. The presence or absence of what I call definiteness of purpose. A clear, committed, unwavering direction that organizes every thought, every action, every choice around a single aim. Today, I'm going to show you why this matters more than almost anything else. You could learn about success and wealth. I'm going to reveal how indecision is silently destroying your potential every single day. And most importantly, I'm going to show you how to break free from this trap and begin living with the kind of clarity and purpose that transforms everything. Let me start by asking you a direct question. What do you want? Not what do your parents want for you. Not what society expects. Not what would be nice to have. What do you actually want? What is the one thing you would commit your life to achieving if you knew you couldn't fail? If you hesitated just now, if you couldn't answer immediately and with absolute certainty, you're experiencing the problem firsthand. That hesitation, that uncertainty, that inability to name your purpose clearly and confidently, that's the enemy. That's what's keeping you stuck. That's what's preventing you from building the wealth and life you claim you want. Most people go through their entire lives without ever answering this question. They drift from job to job, relationship to relationship, opportunity to opportunity, never committing fully to anything. They keep their options open. They hedge their bets. They avoid burning bridges. And in doing so, they guarantee mediocrity, because success of any kind requires commitment. Wealth requires direction. Achievement requires focus. And none of these are possible when you're paralyzed by indecision. Here's what most people don't understand about indecision. They think it's neutral. They think, I'm just being careful. I'm weighing my options. I'm not ready to commit yet. But indecision isn't neutral. It's not a pause button. It's an active force that's working against you every moment you allow it to persist. Indecision is a decision. It's a decision to let circumstances control you rather than you controlling circumstances. It's a decision to react rather than create. It's a decision to remain powerless. Every day you spend in indecision is a day your competitors, your peers, people with less talent and fewer resources than you, are moving forward with clarity and purpose. They're building momentum. They're creating opportunities. They're developing skills. They're accumulating wealth. While you're still trying to decide which direction to go, they've already traveled miles down their chosen path. And here's the cruel irony. The longer you wait to decide, the harder decision becomes. Indecision becomes a habit. Your confidence erodes. You start believing you're not capable of making big decisions. You develop analysis paralysis. You overthink everything. You see problems in every option. You wait for perfect clarity that never comes. And year after year passes until you wake up one day and realize you've spent your entire life preparing to live instead of actually living. The cost of drifting through life without definiteness of purpose is staggering. It's not just missed opportunities, though those are real. It's not just lost income, though that's significant. The real cost is internal. It's the slow erosion of your identity, your confidence, your sense of self. Because when you don't know what you want, you don't know who you are. And when you don't know who you are, you become whoever circumstances make you. You become reactive instead of proactive, a leaf blown by the wind instead of a ship with a destination. People who drift are always busy. They're always doing something. But they're never fulfilled. They're never satisfied because their activity lacks purpose. They're moving, but not toward anything. They're working, but not building anything. They're living, but not creating a life. They're surviving, but not thriving. Now contrast this with someone who has definiteness of purpose. Someone who has decided clearly what they want and committed fully to achieving it. Everything changes. Their confidence increases because they know where they're going. Their decisions become easier because they have a filter. Does this move me toward my purpose or away from it? Their energy focuses because they're not scattered across a dozen different possibilities. Their results improve because concentrated effort always produces better outcomes than diffused effort. Let me tell you about a man who embodied this principle more than almost anyone in modern history. His name was Sam Walton. You probably know him as the founder of Walmart, but what you might not know is how clearly and decisively he chose his path, and how that singular focus created one of the largest fortunes in American history. In 1945, Sam Walton had a choice. He could take a safe, comfortable job working for someone else, or he could borrow money and buy a small variety store in a town of 6,000 people. Most people would have analyzed endlessly, cons, waited pros or more certainty. Not Sam. He decided. He committed. He bought that store. But here's what's important. Sam didn't just buy a store. He decided with absolute clarity what he wanted to become. He wanted to build the best retail operation in America. Not the biggest initially, the best. He decided that his purpose was to provide value to customers by offering lower prices than anyone else. That was it. That was his definiteness of purpose. And every single decision he made for the next 5 decades aligned with that purpose. When other retailers were focused on high margins in wealthy areas, Sam decided to serve small towns with lower prices. When others opened fancy stores, Sam kept costs low and passed savings to customers. When others guarded their method, Sam studied competitors and adopted any practice that served his purpose. He wasn't distracted by what others thought. He wasn't deterred by criticism. He wasn't paralyzed by uncertainty. He had decided what he wanted, and he moved toward it with absolute commitment. The result, Sam Walton built Walmart into the largest retailer in the world. At his death, his net worth exceeded $100 billion in today's money. But more importantly, he lived with purpose. He knew exactly what he was building every single day of his life. He never drifted. He never wondered if he was on the right path. He had decided, and that decision organized everything. Now you might think, well, that's Sam Walton. He was exceptional. I'm just an ordinary person. Let me tell you about someone who was even more ordinary than you probably consider yourself. Her name was Linda, and for 37 years, she drifted through life without any clear direction. Linda graduated college without knowing what she wanted to do. So she took a job in data entry because it paid the bills. She told herself it was temporary, just until she figured things out. But years passed. She got comfortable. She kept waiting for clarity about what she really wanted to do, but it never came. She'd get interested in something, research it, get excited, then talk herself out of it. Too risky. Too late. Too hard. She stayed in her comfortable, unfulfilling job because at least it was certain. By age 50, Linda was miserable. She'd spent 37 years waiting to start her real life, waiting to figure out her purpose, waiting for the perfect opportunity. And she was no closer to knowing what she wanted than she'd been at 23. Actually, she was further, because now she also believed she was too old, too stuck, too far behind to start anything new. Then something happened. Linda's company announced layoffs. And instead of feeling devastated, Linda felt something unexpected: relief, because the decision had been made for her. She was forced out of her comfortable drift. For the first time in decades, she had to actually choose a direction. Linda decided to stop waiting for clarity and simply choose something. She looked at what she'd always been interested in but never pursued: teaching. Specifically, teaching adults practical life skills, budgeting, cooking, basic home maintenance. She decided that this would be her purpose, not because it was perfect, not because she was certain it would work, but because she finally chose something and committed to it fully. Linda got certified to teach adult education. She started with one free class at a community center, then another. She created simple course materials. She asked for feedback and improved. Within 2 years, Linda was teaching multiple classes. Within 4 years, she'd created an online course that people paid for. Within 6 years, her course business was generating more income than her old data entry job. At 56, Linda finally knew what she was doing with her life. Not because she waited until she figured it out, but because she decided to figure it out by doing. The transformation wasn't just financial. Linda's entire demeanor changed. Her confidence increased. She walked differently, spoke differently, made decisions quickly, because she finally had a direction. She finally knew who she was and where she was going. The decades of drifting had eroded her sense of self. The years of commitment rebuilt it. What's the difference between young Sam Walton and middle-aged Linda? Sam decided early. Linda decided late. But they both decided. And the moment they decided with clarity and commitment, everything changed. The clouds lifted. The path appeared. The energy focused. And results followed. This is the power of definiteness of purpose. And this is what's missing from most people's lives. They're waiting, hoping, wishing, trying to keep all their options open, trying to avoid making a wrong choice. And in doing so, they make the worst choice possible: the choice to never commit to anything. Let me explain exactly why this happens and how indecision destroys your potential in ways you probably haven't even considered. First, indecision weakens confidence and identity. Every time you fail to make a clear decision, you send a message to yourself. A message that says, I don't trust myself. I can't be certain. I might make the wrong choice. This message compounds over time. Each moment of hesitation reinforces the belief that you're not capable of deciding. And if you're not capable of deciding, who are you? What are you? You become undefined, uncertain, unstable. Confidence comes from decisive action, from making a choice and standing by it, from committing to a direction and moving forward despite uncertainty. People with definiteness of purpose radiate confidence because they know who they are. They've defined themselves through their commitment. They're not waiting for external validation or perfect conditions. They've decided, and that decision gives them identity and strength. When you lack definiteness of purpose, you have no stable sense of self. You're whoever your circumstances make you, whoever the people around you need you to be. Whatever role life has assigned you, you're not creating your identity. You're accepting whatever identity happens to you. Second, drifting attracts circumstances instead of creating them. This is crucial to understand. Life is not neutral. If you're not actively creating your circumstances, circumstances will create you. If you're not moving toward a clear aim, you'll be swept along by whatever current happens to catch you. You become reactive. You respond to what happens rather than making things happen. People without definiteness of purpose spend their entire lives reacting. Job posting appears, they apply. Relationship opportunity arises, they pursue it. Problem emerges, they handle it. But they're never creating, never initiating, never leading their own life. They're always responding to external forces. People with clear purpose do the opposite. They create circumstances. They initiate. They make things happen. They don't wait for opportunities. They create opportunities. They don't hope for the right conditions. They work with whatever conditions exist because they're not dependent on circumstances. They're committed to their purpose regardless of circumstances. Third, clear decisions organize the mind and energy. Your mind is an incredible instrument, but it needs direction. When you have definiteness of purpose, your mind organizes around that purpose. Your subconscious works on problems related to your aim. You notice opportunities others miss because your mind is tuned to recognize them. Your energy focuses naturally because you're not scattered across competing desires. When you lack clear purpose, your mind has no organizing principle. It jumps from thought to thought, worry to worry, possibility to possibility. You're mentally scattered, and scattered energy produces minimal results. It's like sunlight versus laser light. Sunlight is diffused and produces gentle warmth. Laser light is focused and can cut through steel. Same energy, different results based solely on focus. Every moment you spend in indecision is a moment your mental energy diffuses. You're thinking about multiple possibilities simultaneously, worrying about making the wrong choice, comparing options endlessly. All that mental energy is wasted. It produces no results. It builds nothing. It's pure loss. Fourth, commitment creates momentum and opportunity. Here's something most people never understand. Opportunities don't appear before you commit. They appear after. When you're drifting, weighing options, keeping possibilities open, opportunities are scarce. Why? Because opportunities follow commitment. They respond to decisive action. When you commit fully to a definite purpose, opportunities begin appearing that were invisible before. People emerge who can help. Resources become available. Doors open. Not because you got lucky, but because your commitment made you visible. It made you specific. People can help someone with a clear aim. They can't help someone who's still figuring it out. Momentum works the same way. You can't build momentum while drifting. Momentum requires consistent movement in a single direction. When you're committed to a clear purpose, every action builds on the previous one. Progress compounds, skills develop, connections deepen, results accumulate. This is momentum, and it's only possible when you're moving consistently toward a definite aim. Fifth, purpose simplifies life and eliminates internal conflict. Most people experience constant internal conflict. Part of them wants security. Part wants adventure. Part wants wealth. Part wants to start a business. Part wants a stable job. These conflicting desires create paralysis. They drain energy. They prevent decisive action. When you have definiteness of purpose, these conflicts resolve, not because the desires disappear, but because you have a filter. You've decided what matters most. When conflicts arise, you know which desire to honor, the one aligned with your purpose. Everything else becomes secondary. This simplifies everything. Decisions become easier, not because the choices are clearer, but because you know what you're optimizing for. You're not trying to satisfy every desire simultaneously. You're committed to one overarching aim, and you're willing to sacrifice other desires in service of that aim. This simplification is liberating. Most people are exhausted by the complexity of their own minds, the competing desires, the endless options, the fear of missing out. Definiteness of purpose cuts through all of this. It provides clarity, direction, peace. Now here's something that will disturb you if you're honest with yourself. Hesitation is silently destroying your momentum right now, in this very moment, and you probably don't even notice it happening. Every time you think about taking action toward a goal, but hesitate, you lose momentum. Every time you have an idea but talk yourself out of pursuing it, you weaken your initiative. Every time you almost make a decision but decide to wait a little longer, you reinforce the habit of indecision. These moments seem small, insignificant. Just being cautious, you tell yourself. Just being responsible. Just making sure. But each moment of hesitation is like a small crack in a dam. One crack doesn't break the dam, but 1,000 cracks, 10,000 cracks, and eventually the structure fails completely. This is what happens to most people. Years of small hesitations accumulate until they can no longer take decisive action at all. They've trained themselves to wait, to analyze, to delay. And this training becomes so deeply ingrained that they don't even recognize it as a choice anymore. It feels natural. It feels like wisdom. But it's neither. It's a habit, a destructive habit that guarantees mediocrity. The truly successful, the truly wealthy, they've trained the opposite habit. They've trained themselves to decide quickly and commit fully, not recklessly. not without thought, but decisively. They gather sufficient information, make a choice, and move forward. They understand that a good decision made quickly and acted upon immediately produces better results than a perfect decision made slowly. Why? Because speed matters. Because momentum matters. Because while you're still analyzing, someone else is executing, and in the real world, execution beats analysis every single time. So what do you do about this? How do you break free from the paralysis of indecision and develop definiteness of purpose? Let me walk you through exactly how to make this shift starting today. The first step is to define one clear goal or aim you are willing to commit to fully. Not 5 goals, not 3 goals, 1. What is the single most important thing you want to achieve? What would change your life more than anything else? What do you actually care about enough to sacrifice for? Write it down. Be specific. Not I want to be successful. Success is vague. Not I want to be wealthy. Wealth is unclear. Specific. I want to build a business generating $500,000 in annual revenue within 3 years. I want to become a recognized expert in my field and speak at major conferences within 2 years. I want to create financial independence by building rental property portfolio generating $10,000 monthly passive income within 5 years. Specific, clear, definite. This is your aim, your purpose, your commitment. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be your life's ultimate purpose. It just needs to be specific enough to organize your thoughts and actions around it. The second step is to eliminate conflicting desires that dilute focus. Look at your life honestly. What other goals, dreams, or desires are competing with your primary aim? What are you trying to accomplish simultaneously that's dividing your energy? You can't build a business while also training for an ultramarathon, while also learning 3 languages, while also writing a novel. You can do impressive things, but not everything simultaneously. Choose. What matters most right now? What serves your definite purpose? Keep that. Let the rest go. Not forever. Just for now. You're not abandoning other interests. You're sequencing them. First this, then that. This elimination is painful. You'll feel like you're closing doors, limiting yourself. But the opposite is true. You're focusing your power. You're concentrating your energy. And concentrated energy produces exponentially better results than divided energy. Third, practice making firm decisions daily, even in small matters. This is how you retrain your brain. You've spent years, maybe decades, developing the habit of indecision. You're not going to reverse that with one big decision. You reverse it through daily practice. Start small. When choosing what to eat, decide quickly. When picking which task to do first, choose immediately. When someone asks your opinion, state it clearly without hedging. These seem trivial. They're not. They're reprogramming your neural pathways. They're training decisiveness. Notice how you currently make decisions. Do you agonize? Do you seek constant input? Do you change your mind repeatedly? These are symptoms of the indecision habit. Consciously choose to decide differently. Gather sufficient information quickly. Make a choice. Commit to it. Move forward. Do this consistently in small matters, and you'll develop the capacity to do it in large matters. Fourth, align your daily actions with your chosen direction. Having a definite purpose means nothing if your actions don't reflect it. Look at how you actually spend your time, your energy, your money. Is it aligned with your stated purpose? Or are you saying one thing and doing another? Most people have massive misalignment. They say their purpose is to build a business, but they spend their evenings watching television. They say they want financial independence, but they spend every dollar they earn. They say they want to be an expert, but they never study. Your actions reveal your real commitments. If there's misalignment between what you say you want and how you actually spend your time, you're lying to yourself. And that lie prevents progress. Align them ruthlessly. If your purpose is building a business, dedicate your discretionary time to that business. Not all of it, but a significant, consistent portion. If your purpose is financial independence, redirect spending toward investment. If your purpose is expertise, spend time others waste on learning. Fifth, review and reinforce your purpose consistently. Definiteness of purpose isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily commitment. Life will constantly tempt you to drift. New opportunities will appear. Obstacles will arise. You'll question your choice. This is normal. This is why you must reinforce your purpose regularly. Every morning, remind yourself of your definite aim. Visualize it, feel it, recommit to it, not as empty affirmation, as genuine renewal of commitment. Why does this matter to you? What will achieving it create? How will it change your life? Every evening, review your actions. Did you move toward your purpose today? Did you honor your commitment? If yes, acknowledge it. If no, adjust tomorrow. Don't judge. Don't shame. Just observe and adjust. This daily practice keeps your purpose alive and active in your consciousness. Here's what happens when you implement these 5 steps consistently. Within weeks, you'll notice changes. Decisions become easier, confidence increases, energy focuses, opportunities appear. Within months, you'll see measurable progress toward your aim. Within a year, you'll be unrecognizable compared to who you are now. Not because you worked harder necessarily, but because your work had direction, your energy had focus, your life had purpose, and that makes all the difference. Let me be direct with you one final time. You have a choice right now. You can finish listening to this, nod in agreement, and continue drifting. Continue waiting for clarity. Continue keeping your options open. Continue analyzing and hesitating. And if you do, nothing will change. You'll be in the exact same place a year from now, still waiting, still hoping, still stuck, or you can decide. Right now, today, not tomorrow, not when you have more information, not when you feel ready. Now, choose your definite purpose. Commit to it fully, eliminate what competes with it. Take decisive action toward it daily, and watch your entire life transform. The power of decision is absolute. It's the doorway through which every achievement must pass. Nothing significant happens without it. No wealth is built without it. No success is achieved without it. No life is truly lived without it. A mind without direction becomes a servant to circumstance. But a mind with definiteness of purpose becomes a force that shapes circumstance. Which will you be? Will you continue drifting? Or will you finally decide? The answer to that question will determine everything. Your wealth, your fulfillment, your legacy, your life. Choose decisively. Choose now.